Greys. You know, those weird little extraterrestrials that mutilate cows, invade farms, and suck you off. Well, that's what I want to talk about today. Welcome back, everyone. Much like cockroaches and clowns, aliens are a fear that I have that absolutely fascinates me. I'm fascinated by what scares me and what scares everyone else, especially during this holiday season. And so what is a gray? A gray is a 3 or 4 foot alien that has dark black eyes, short stature, and low musculature. It is a common sighting among reported abductees and has been in mainstream consciousness for at least, 80 years? They gained popularity in the 60s and 70s, and they really kicked off after the 1947 Roswell, New Mexico crash incident. Now, I'm sure many of you know what that is, but for the uninitiated, it was essentially a wreckage of a balloon or a craft in Roswell, New Mexico that was recovered by the military, and it was reported in the news as a flying saucer over the Roswell region that was recovered. And ever since then, people have been fascinated by aliens and extraterrestrials. The military would later make a statement saying that it was part of Project Mogul, and the wreckage was from one of their balloons, the metallic and rubber wreckage that they recovered. And that's the official story. After Project Mogul got declassified, the military came forward and said that, yes, this was wreckage from that balloon during that operation. However, that did not stop the cultural phenomenon that was the gray aliens during that time. It was crazy. And even to this day, you get two camps of people. One camp of people says that it was a military mission, it was military wreckage that they picked up, part of a top secret operation. And you have another camp of people who say that it was still wreckage from an alien spacecraft and it was all a cover-up by the military or the government. Now, as a kid, I was absolutely terrified of these things. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the dark eyes, maybe it was the lack of emotion, the malicious intent, or the fact that these things kidnap you in your sleep. Or maybe all of the above, actually. But they absolutely terrified me as a kid. And I was so convinced that they would come phasing through the walls to kidnap me while I was sleeping. So much so that I remember distinctly constantly asking my dad for reassurance, telling me and assuring me that they wouldn't come and kidnap me in my sleep. They wouldn't come through the walls and get me. And that fear of those types of aliens carried through high school into early adulthood. I mean, given it wasn't nearly as bad as when I was like 7 or 8. However, it still gave me this sort of flinch response into early adulthood that was very fascinating. And so I have sort of a weird nostalgia and respect for that sort of fear. So, let me give you recommendations for this spooky season if you want to also be scared by aliens.
Have you seen an alien?
I would suggest X-Files, which is a classic TV series, specifically after Season 4 and Season 5 if you really want to see things ramp up. Communion, a movie made in 1989 starring Christopher Walken, and Memnite Chameleon's Signs from 2002. One thing I should say, though, before you go into these movies is that the more logical you are and the more scientific you are, the worse of a time you're going to have. Because this isn't the sort of thing where it's like, oh, I can figure out this puzzle and enjoy it more. No, it comes from the unknown. And there are faults in these movies and series, but they don't take away from the atmosphere or the scare that they bring, at least to me. Specifically with Signs, even though it's probably the least logical out of all the entries, I would say that it is one of the scariest movies of all time, even to this day. The jump scares are actual scares. They're not just cat scares and loud noises to get cheap thrills out of you. And the music is good, and the cinematography is really, really spooky, so I like that quite a lot. But yeah, sound off in the comments. Let me know what weird fears you used to have as a kid, and things that may even still follow you to this day, because I think that's a really cool point of discussion, and it gives a good sense of community during this Halloween season to sort of gather around the proverbial campfire and talk about, scares and spooks. So yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. Stay spooky. This is Lucas, and I'll catch you later.